The podcast you are about to listen to is centered on a book titled Divine Wisdom, Key to Mental and Intellectual Excellence by Pastor Jonah Okwudiri Jacob. Pastor Jonah is both the author and owner of the book titled Divine Wisdom. For inquiries on how to get the hard copy, audio, or PDF version of the book, kindly follow the informations at the end of this video. God bless you, in Jesus' mighty name.
So, imagine for a second that you are holding this master key.
Okay.
Like a key to a highly secure, completely proprietary vault. And inside this vault is the literal answer to, every catastrophic failure, every paralyzing dilemma, every complex relational disaster in human history.
Wow. So everything.
Right there. But instead of just using the key to open the door, you choose to walk outside and ask a blind scavenging bird for directions.
Right. Which sounds completely absurd.
Right. It sounds ridiculous, but according to this deeply fascinating, honestly somewhat radical theological text we are unpacking today, that is exactly what humanity does. Like every single day.
It really is a striking paradox, because we live in this era that is just defined by profound decision fatigue.
Oh, for sure.
We're relentlessly trying to optimize our lives. We're searching for the perfect morning routine, the foolproof investment strategy.
The exact right words to use in a toxic workplace.
Yes, all of it. We consume these massive libraries of self-help books, we listen to gurus, and yet there's just this pervasive ambient anxiety.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
We have infinite access to information, right?
Yeah.
But almost no access to true, stabilizing wisdom.
Which is really what makes our source material today so provocative. We are doing a deep dive into Chapter 6 of a book called Divine Wisdom, Key to Mental and Intellectual Excellence.
By Pastor Jonah Okwudiri Jacob.
Right. And our mission for this deep dive is to take a magnifying glass to this singular question the author poses, which is, where does true divine wisdom actually come from?
And perhaps more importantly, where does it absolutely not come from?
Exactly. Okay, let's unpack this. Because the author starts by pointing out that humanity is essentially running on a treadmill of frustration.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
We look for wisdom horizontally, right? Like we look to our peers, we look to nature, to big data sets. But Pastor Jacob immediately forces the reader's attention vertically.
Right, and just to set the baseline here, especially for any listener who might be approaching this from a secular or, a non-theological background.
Yeah, that's important.
It is vital to understand the sheer magnitude of the author's claim. Pastor Jacob isn't offering like a 10-step guide to being a slightly sharper thinker.
No, not at all.
He is presenting a comprehensive, absolute worldview about the literal geography of truth.
The geography of truth, I love that phrasing.
Because he grounds his entire argument in two very specific verses from the biblical book of James. First, he points to James 3.1c, which states that divine wisdom is from above.
Right.
But he doesn't treat above as some vague poetic metaphor for goodness. He links it directly to James 1.72.
Which says that every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights.
Yes. And Pastor Jacob's interpretation here is highly literal.
I want to pause on that for a second because that is a massive philosophical line in the sand.
Oh, absolutely.
He is asserting that above is a direct, tangible reference to the actual abode of God. Like he's claiming a monopoly on truth.
That is the core of his entire framework. The text posits that if every perfect gift comes from this specific place, God must literally occupy this realm.
Right.
And crucially, he must exclusively control it. God isn't just, a wise sage handing out advice on a mountain.
Right, he's the owner.
He is the sole owner, operator, and administrator of the realm of perfect wisdom.
So, to use a modern analogy, it's not an open source code that anyone can just contribute to or tweak.
Well,
it's a proprietary data vault. You can't crowdsource the passwords on a Reddit forum. You can't reverse engineer it from your garage.
Okay.
The only possible way you are getting that source code is if you go directly to the ultimate systems administrator, the one who holds the physical keys.
And this brings us to what I think is the most surprising aspect of that administrator, which is found in James 1.5.
Oh.
It states, "If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him."
Upbraideth not. That is one of those archaic English words that we just kind of gloss over.
We do.
But it basically means to scold, to criticize, or to find fault. Right.
It does. And within Pastor Jacob's theological framework, this reveals a really profound dual nature.
How so?
Well, on one hand, you have this liberally, meaning generously, and without any intellectual elitism.
Oh, wow.
He doesn't mock you for your ignorance. He doesn't say, look, I gave you a brain, figure it out yourself.
Which is entirely contrary to how human experts operate.
Oh, completely.
I mean, if you ask a renowned professor a basic fundamental question, you are probably going to get scoffed at.
You will absolutely be upbraided.
You will. But if you're listening to this, I really want you to think about the psychological shift this text is offering. In modern hustle culture, the burden is 100% on you.
Always.
You have to manufacture your own wisdom out of thin air. You have to be smart enough, read enough, strategize enough.
Yeah.
But Pastor Jacob's framework completely removes that burden. You don't have to manufacture it. You just have to recognize your deficit and ask the soul distributor.
And theoretically, that should be a massive relief.
It should. They really do.
Egos demand that we be the architects of our own understanding. We want to discover the path, patent the path, and, put our names in big letters on it.
We want the credit. We want to publish the paper, write the bestseller, and say, look at this incredible system I developed.
Exactly.
Because admitting we are entirely locked out of the vault without a guide, that is deeply offensive to human pride.
And that stubborn refusal to look to the correct source is what allows Pastor Jacob to transition into what I find to be the most intellectually rigorous part of his book.
Yes, the dead ends.
Right. He takes us into this ancient, highly poetic map of human failure, which is the book of Job, specifically chapter 28.
Job 28 is essentially a catalog of dead ends.
It really is.
The author uses this text to systematically dismantle all the alternative routes humanity attempts to take to bypass God and find wisdom on their own.
Yeah.
It repeatedly asks this haunting question, whence then cometh wisdom?
Right. And he begins dismantling these routes by looking at Job 28.7, which reads, "There is a path which no fowl knoweth."
The fowl.
A fowl, yes.
Yeah.
Pastor Jacob makes a very specific, almost jarring interpretative leap here. He identifies the fowl, the bird of the air, as representing philosophers and pure human reasoning.
Okay, I have to step in here and push back a little.
Sure.
Because I am looking at this from a secular historical standpoint. We revere the Greeks, we revere the Enlightenment. I mean, the literal translation of the Greek word philosophia is the love of wisdom.
Right.
So to categorize thousands of years of human intellectual achievement, Socrates, Kant, Descartes as just a blind bird flying in circles. Well, not a blind bird, but just a bird.
A bird missing the path.
That is a massively offensive claim to modern intellect. How does Pastor Jacob justify throwing all of that out? What is the functional similarity between a bird and a philosopher?
It's a vital question.
Yeah.
And to understand his critique, we have to look at the physical mechanism of a bird in flight.
Okay.
A bird in the air has no solid ground beneath it. It operates in a space without friction, without an anchor.
Right.
Pastor Jacob argues that this is precisely the methodology of unbounded human philosophy. In pure philosophy, man views himself as a completely free will being, totally rejecting any ultimate external frame of reference.
So because the philosopher wants to question everything, because, skepticism is the primary tool, they refuse to establish a bedrock truth to stand on.
Yes, they reject absolute bounds. And the text argues this is a fatal flaw when searching for divine wisdom.
Okay, I see.
Because if every theory propounded is merely a matter of personal conviction or subjective reasoning, it cannot represent a universal truth. It's an intellectual exercise just hovering in midair.
But wait, what about the scientific method?
Okay.
Isn't empirical science a form of philosophy? I mean, it has a fixed frame of reference, measurable data, physical reality, the laws of thermodynamics.
Right.
Does the author throw out empirical science along with abstract philosophy?
No, the author isn't claiming that human reasoning can't figure the and spiritual reality.
Ah, okay, that's a huge difference.
Exactly. Science is bounded by the physical. But when human intellect tries to cross over and solve the ultimate existential questions using only its own unbounded reasoning, it becomes the fowl.
It flies higher and higher.
Right, it flies higher and higher into abstraction, but it never lands on the path of solid living truth because it refuses to land on the revelation of God.
That makes a lot more sense. It's like trying to build a skyscraper, but instead of digging a foundation into bedrock, you're trying to build it in the clouds.
That's a great way to picture it.
You can design a gorgeous, intricate philosophical system, but if it's hovering in the sky of subjective opinion, it just can't support the weight of actual human suffering or complex moral dilemmas.
No, it can't.
And as you said, some philosophers will openly admit that the goal isn't to solve the problem. The goal is the debate itself.
Exactly the point. It thrives on endless argument. It's a bird flying in circles, putting on a beautiful display, but entirely ignorant of the actual path to wisdom.
If you are listening to this, think about your own information diet. Think about how many think pieces, podcasts, and endless online debates we consume that just argue in circles.
Well, there's so many.
They sound incredibly smart, they use huge vocabularies, but at the end of the day, nothing is actually solved. The text is warning you that is the path of the foul. It's a dead end.
And having closed the door on the lofty sky of human intellect, the author moves to the second half of Job 28.7, which introduces another bird.
Okay, what's this one?
It says there is a path which the vulture's eye hath not seen.
A vulture. Okay, I'm tracking with the bird of the air as an intellect without a landing pad. But a vulture.
Right.
Let's be critical here. How does a specific bird of prey translate to the next dead end? Because Pastor Jacob links the vulture to the occult, demonic forces, and dark mysticism, right?
It does, yes.
Walk me through the author's logic there, because it feels like a massive conceptual leap.
It does seem like a leap until you look at the biological reality of a vulture.
Okay.
A vulture is not an apex predator that hunts lives to
Right, it's a scavenger.
Exactly. It only feeds on what is already dead, decaying, and rotting.
Oh, wow.
Within this theological framework, Pastor Jacob is making a profound statement about the nature of evil and the occult. He is saying that demonic forces and dark mysticism do not possess creative power.
Oh, that's fascinating.
They can only scavenge off the corruption of what God has already created. They cannot access the living, breathing Father of lights.
That completely flips the traditional fear narrative on its head.
It really does.
Because even in secular pop culture, we have this lingering superstition that the dark side, the occults, secret societies, witchcraft, that it possesses this deep, ancient, hidden knowledge.
Right? The forbidden secrets.
Yes. It's why people are drawn to it. They think they are hacking the universe by going to a palm reader or consulting an astrology chart. They think they are getting a backstage pass.
And Pastor Jacob uses this single verse to completely dismantle that superstition. The text proves that demonic intelligence and occult powers have a hard, absolute limit.
I'll limit.
The realm that knows all, sees all, understands all, does not belong to them. The vulture's eye, which in nature is incredibly sharp, able to spot a rotting carcass from miles up in the sky, is entirely hopelessly blind to the path of divine wisdom.
Hold on, let me just process the implication of that.
Yeah, take your time.
If the occult is entirely blind to divine wisdom, then it has no real power over human destiny.
Which leads to what I consider the most brilliant extrapolation of the entire text. Pastor Jacob argues that anything that can be limited is fundamentally weak to the extent of its limitation.
Anything limited is weak to the extent of its limitation. That is a fascinating axiom.
Right. By proving from the text of Job that principalities, powers, and occult intelligence literally cannot see the path of divine wisdom, he exposes them as scavengers holding empty bags.
Wow.
If you go to a medium or a secret cult or even rely on a horoscope, hoping for profound direction for your life, the source material is warning you that you are asking a blind vulture for directions to a living garden.
That is such a vivid image.
The vulture cannot help you because it cannot see it. You're seeking a mystical shortcut, but you're wandering down a blind, decaying alley.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because door number 1, human intellect and unbounded philosophy, is closed. It's ungrounded.
Yeah.
Door number 2, the supernatural, occult, and mysticism, is closed. It's blind and limited.
Exactly.
So where do humans usually turn when they can't outthink a problem and they can't magic their way out of a problem? Historically, they try to force their way out.
Which brings us perfectly to the third foreclosed path. Job 28.8 says, "The lion's whelps have not trodden it, nor the fierce lion passed by it."
The fierce lion, the king of the jungle. This represents raw, unadulterated power.
Pastor Jacob interprets these fierce lions as representing men of intense physical and mental valor. He's talking about the great conquerors of history, military geniuses, and even modern titans of industry who dominate their fields through sheer force of will.
I instantly think of like a sledgehammer trying to solve a complex calculus equation.
Well, that's a perfect analogy.
Because a sledgehammer is an undeniably powerful tool. It commands respect, it can demolish a concrete wall in seconds, but it is entirely, laughably useless for the specific task of solving math. You can't intimidate an equation into solving itself. And the text is saying you cannot intimidate, conquer, or force your way into divine wisdom.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, think about what we idolize in modern society. We absolutely idolize hustle culture.
Oh, 100%.
The prevailing cultural narrative, especially in business and tech, is that if you wake up at 4 a.m., take a cold plunge, outwork your competitors, dominate your market, and exert maximum mental and physical force.
You'll unlock the secrets of the universe.
Right. You will unlock the ultimate secrets of success. You will become the alpha, the fierce lion.
It's the relentless optimization mindset. Crush your enemies, optimize your sleep, conquer your day.
But what is this ancient text saying about that exact mindset? It flatly rejects it as a vehicle for true wisdom.
Flat out.
The fierce lion knows absolutely nothing about this path. Divine wisdom does not respond to physical exertion or mental dominance.
No.
You cannot bully the administrator of the vault into handing over the keys just because you work a 100-hour week.
Right.
Alexander the Great conquered the known world, but according to this framework, he was just as lost regarding the origin of true wisdom as the blind vulture.
It is deeply humbling.
Yeah.
Because the human ego wants to believe that extreme effort guarantees the ultimate prize.
We really do.
We want to believe that if we just sweat enough, bleed enough, and push hard enough, the universe owes us the answers.
Yeah.
But Pastor Jacob is stating that effort, dominance, and might are simply the wrong currencies entirely.
And just to drive the point home about how futile human power is, the author moves to a force that mocks all fierce lions.
Oh, wow.
A boundary that no human conqueror, no matter how powerful, has ever been able to cross or defeat.
You're talking about the ultimate equalizer, death.
Yes. In Job 28.22, we see this stunning theatrical personification. It reads, "Destruction and death say, we have heard the fame thereof with our ears."
We have heard the fame thereof with our ears. Let's just sit with that imagery for a second. It's powerful.
You have death and destruction, these terrifying, undefeated forces that have haunted the human psyche since the dawn of time. And the text portrays them as what? Gossiping bystanders?
Precisely. Pastor Jacob points out that this is the ultimate acknowledgement of divine wisdom's absolute supremacy.
Yeah.
In secular philosophy, death is often viewed as the final authority, the ultimate end of all meaning. But here, death and destruction are depicted as subordinates.
That's wild.
They're standing on the sidelines whispering, "We've heard rumors about how powerful this wisdom is. They don't possess it, they don't control it, they are intimidated by its fame."
That drastically reframes the human experience of suffering.
It really does.
If you are listening to this and you are facing a dead end, maybe you are facing the death of a career, the destruction of a marriage, a terrifying medical diagnosis, or a financial ruin that feels completely hopeless and final.
Yeah.
If Pastor Jacob's framework is correct, and divine wisdom is vastly superior to literal death and destruction, then no situation you are currently facing is beyond hope. That is the profound practical application of this theology. The author connects this imagery to 1 Corinthians 15.26, which states, "The last enemy that shall be destroyed is death."
Right.
The implication is that death is not the final word God's wisdom is. Therefore, no matter how chaotic or destructive a situation is, it is fully subordinate to the wisdom held in the vault. The vault of wisdom sits higher than the grave.
Okay, so the text has systematically demolished every human attempt to grasp or conquer wisdom.
Yep.
Intellect fails because it has no ground. The occult fails because it is blind and scavenging. Human willpower fails because it's using a sledgehammer for calculus. Even death is relegated to a bystander.
Exactly.
So the text then pivots to the final human fallback plan. If we can't outsmart it, magic it, or beat it up, can we just buy it? What is the market value of divine wisdom?
Here the text provides a sweeping poetic catalog of ancient wealth. Job 28 lists a staggering array of precious materials.
Yeah, I remember reading this.
It says, "Wisdom cannot be gotten for gold, nor silver weighed for its price. It can't be valued with the gold of Ophir, precious onyx, sapphire."
Or the text of Job spends so much time naming specific rocks. Why not just say, you can't buy it with money?
Because in the ancient Near East, these weren't just pretty rocks. They were the ultimate markers of absolute security, geopolitical power, and invulnerability.
Oh, okay.
The gold of Ophir was legendary for its purity. Sapphires and onyx were the materials of kings and high priests. Pastor Jacob argues that by listing these out individually, the text is systematically bankrupting the human valuation system.
So it's the ancient equivalent of saying you can't buy it with Apple stock, you can't buy it with Bitcoin, you can't buy it with a diversified real estate portfolio, and you can't buy it with a billionaire's survival bunker in New Zealand.
That's the exact modern translation. In human society, we use wealth to insulate ourselves from reality. We use it to buy security, honor, and the illusion of control.
Yeah.
Wealth is, as Pastor Jacob puts it, what makes men tick. But the text places all that accumulated global wealth on a scale opposite divine wisdom, and the exchange rate is zero.
Zero.
Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and the combined treasuries of antiquity couldn't pool their resources to bribe the administrator of the vault for a single ounce of this wisdom.
Because it is fundamentally not for sale.
No, it's not.
Which leaves us in a highly uncomfortable, vulnerable position.
Very uncomfortable.
Human currency is useless. Our brains aren't enough. Our strength is laughable. Our mysticism is blind. So we are back to the agonizing question, how does a person actually obtain this?
This sets up Pastor Jacob's grand conclusion, the thesis that ties this entire deep dive together. The text finally provides the answer in Job 28.28.
Okay, here we go.
And unto man he said, Behold, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom, and to depart from evil is understanding.
The fear of the Lord. We really need to act as a bridge here for the listener, because the word fear carries an immense amount of toxic baggage in modern English.
It really does.
When people hear fear of the Lord, especially if they have religious trauma or a secular background, they picture a cowering, abused animal hiding from a completely unpredictable, angry deity holding a lightning bolt.
Right.
But based on the rigorous logic of everything we've just discussed, it cannot possibly mean that.
It absolutely does not mean that.
Yeah.
To understand fear in this specific context, you have to synthesize everything Pastor Jacob just deconstructed.
Okay.
Look at the foreclosed paths. We tried intellectual arrogance with the fowl. We tried dark manipulation with the vulture. We tried aggressive dominance with the lion. We tried buying control with the gold of Ophir.
Yeah.
Every single one of those paths represents humanity trying to assert its own supremacy.
We desperately want to be the boss of our own reality.
Exactly. So, in this framework, the fear of the Lord is the absolute inverse of human arrogance. It is a profound, orienting recognition of reality.
How so?
It's an analogy I like to use about gravity. Imagine someone who has spent their entire life frantically building complex machines, trying to invent a way to pull themselves down to the earth so they don't float away.
Okay, sounds exhausting.
Right, they exhaust themselves. And then, one day, they suddenly understand the concept of gravity. They realize an invisible, absolute force already does it perfectly.
Oh, wow.
The fear of the Lord is that sudden, awe-inspiring realization of gravity. You stop jumping around in a panic. You stop trying to build machines. You just let it hold you.
That is a brilliant analogy. It's not about being terrified, it's a massive reality check.
Yes.
It is looking at the unscalable mountain of God's exclusive wisdom, looking at your own sledgehammers and birdwatching binoculars, and realizing you are entirely unequipped.
Totally unequipped.
It is deep reverential awe. You acknowledge that He is the sole administrator of the vault, and you are just the person asking for the key.
And notice the second half of that final verse, and to depart from evil is understanding. Within Pastor Jacob's specific analysis of Job 28, what does evil actually mean here?
Well, based strictly on the text's flow, evil wouldn't just be a moral failure like stealing or lying.
Right.
Evil, in this context, would be the very act of stubbornly continuing to try and attain wisdom through those foreclosed paths.
You've hit the nail on the head. Evil is the pride of relying entirely on your own unbounded philosophy.
Yeah.
It is the rebellion of seeking out the occult for shortcuts. It is the arrogance of the hustle culture that says, I can conquer the universe with my own willpower.
Wow.
To depart from evil means to stop wandering down those dead-end streets. It means firing the fowl, firing the vulture, and firing the lion.
It means finally turning around, dropping the sledgehammer, and just asking the Father of Lights, who gives liberally and without scolding you for being lost in the first place.
That is the ultimate synthesis of chapter 6. No amount of intellectual discipline, mental prowess, demonic manipulation, or worldly wealth can avail any man of divine wisdom.
None of it.
The only valid, logical avenue remaining is through God, accessed specifically by learning to reverence Him and acknowledge His exclusive ownership.
Radical, absolute claim. True divine wisdom. The kind of wisdom that actually solves the deep, agonizing problems of your life, that navigates the impossible relational disasters that outlast death and destruction itself, isn't something you can hack.
No, it's not.
You can't buy it, you can't logic your way into it by arguing on the internet, you can't scavenge it from superstitions, and you definitely can't conquer it by waking up earlier and working harder.
It is a perfect gift. And it's dispensed from a single exclusive source.
Yeah.
The beauty of Pastor Jacob's framework is that while the vault is highly exclusive, the administrator is incredibly generous. He gives it freely to anyone who simply has the humility to stop trying to be their own God and instead approaches him with awe to ask.
Which brings us to a final, lingering, somewhat provocative thought we want to leave you with today.
Yeah,
If Pastor Jacob's text is right, if true wisdom fundamentally cannot be found in your intellectual achievements, your relentless hustle, or your bank account, how much of your daily energy is currently being spent wandering down the exact wrong path?
Are you exhausting yourself trying to force the vault open with a sledgehammer when you could simply be asking the one who holds the key?
Something profound to consider as you navigate the week. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the source material. We love unpacking these rigorous, challenging frameworks with you. Keep questioning, keep seeking, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.